I'm John MacArthur. I'm going to be one of the instructors on this trip this year. So why don't we just, because there's just a few, why don't we just go around and just say your name and what program you're in?
My name is Wells, and I'm in community development.
Okay.
My name is Hadley, and I'm also in community development.
Okay.
I'm Kelly Clifton. I'm going to be one of the instructors in the class. My name is Sarah. I'm a civil engineer.
Okay.
My name is Val Howard. I'm getting my master's in transportation.
Hello. I'm a master's of information planning program.
I'm Brian Nguyen. I'm a first year work. I went on the trip last year.
Oh, okay, great. Awesome.
David Soto, second year master's in civil engineering, and I went on the trip last year as well.
Okay, communications director for Trek. I didn't go on the trip last year.
I'm Hal Hagedorn. I'm the interim director of Trek. I've been on, so I went to the Netherlands 3 years ago and spent the full 2 weeks with the City Bot program. And last year I was in the Netherlands to connect with various practitioners as well as figure out what the vision for the City Bot program will look like moving forward. And so I did meet up with David and Brian and the PSC group. So I'm here to help answer questions about the City Bot experience.
Great. So we're going to give a little presentation about what we are going to be doing this year and kind of lay out the program and then have it open for you to ask some questions. Then David's actually going to give a little presentation on what you should expect as a student if you choose to come on the program. How many years how is this?
So it's how many years?
Yeah.
I would say, I think this is the 9th or 10th year
It's 10 years.
of,
So
of the Study Bot program.
always a very fun and successful program that we've been having for that long. So let's go to
Are
the
there
slide.
people online? No. Oh, we're Facebook Live.
We're Facebook Live.
Oh, okay.
So again, my name is John MacArthur. I'm Sustainable Transportation Program Manager over at Trek. And Kelly, as you already introduced herself, is at the engineering college. And we will be your instructors or guides or
Spirit animal.
fun host for this 2 weeks. Go to the next slide. So we are going to the Netherlands, and just to give you some idea, if you know,
And the dating before. Yeah, great.
1, 2, okay, great. And we're going to be talking mostly about, we're going to be in Amsterdam and Utrecht, but also seeing some other places. This study tour, typically, this is the first year that it's going to be more based in Amsterdam and Utrecht versus Delft, whereas we've spent about a week or more in previous years. And so Delft is over here in Rotterdam and The Hague. Slide. Oh, this is just a nice picture of a roadway in Delft going out to The Hague to give you some. No, that's fine. So it is going to be mostly focused in Amsterdam and Utrecht. The dates are Monday, June 25th through Friday, the 6th of July. Next slide. So the course objectives are really to get an introduction to sustainable transportation, through the Dutch context. And the course creates immersive experience to explore Dutch approach to cycling, transit, innovative mobility, and land use. We're kind of expanding this year outside of, I know it's talked about a lot of stuff in the past, but we are going to be focusing a little bit more on transit and innovative mobility and some other aspects that the course maybe didn't touch on as explicitly in the past. But we're still going to be seeing and dealing with a lot of bike infrastructure.
The Dutch are known for their cycling, but they do some other stuff that perhaps they're less known for.
Yes.
But they're still, I think, very innovative and world leaders. So it's a great experience to both see the Netherlands directly on transit and on a bike, but also learn a little bit more about other things that you can work with.
Yeah, and we'll be using bike for most of that. And the last thing on there was they were really looking at this as through an eyes of comparative lens. So we get to go see their crazy stuff that's going on there and awesome stuff, but then really kind of reflect back on how can this be applied here and what really can be applied. So how this is one of the examples of a cycle track. That we've got some students observing the flow of traffic and the actual infrastructure. More on course objectives, so it's emphasized, planning engineering principles, policy and practice through field trips and tours. So we really are out of the classroom. It's not, we're really trying not to have that much classroom time. It's going to be out there talking to practitioners, seeing this stuff in the real world context. And then, so students completing the course will develop a broader understanding of sustainable transportation issues and expand their toolkit for context-sensitive solutions. So, next slide. This is a picture of Houghton and the land use that we'll be visiting there. So, on course topics, we're going to be hitting bike, landing, and infrastructure, rail, transit, and streetcar planning and operations, pedestrian planning. We overlook a lot the pedestrian planning side of things because everybody's on bikes and we think less about how people walk around. But we're going to be looking at that. Land use planning, urban street design, and then we're adding these new components, new mobility and mobility as a service and what they're doing around those topics, and then work that they're doing on smart cities. Next slide. So the schedule is actually expanded by one day on either side. So Sunday, the 24th, people arrive, and then you're really leaving on, and we are in Amsterdam from the 24th to the 1st. And on the 1st, we move from Amsterdam to Utrecht, and that goes through the 7th. We're going to be having day trips in Houten, which is a little suburb of Utrecht, which is really kind of famous for their land use design and planning and more of a car-free city.
It's designed around a bicycle, so it's really, it's a suburban context, so it's not a very urban town. I was there a few years ago, and it really, I think, offers some examples about how we might adapt American suburban cities to other modes.
Right.
But on top of that, Houghton is a really, so many of you may have been hearing about Vision Zero policy all across the US as well as internationally. Sweden was one that came out with this Vision Zero concept. Houghton, I think, is one of the few communities that it has achieved Vision Zero. And hopefully we'll get the planner from the city of Houghton to come and speak with the group. But when he talks about planning and infrastructure in Houghton, I don't think they can remember the last time we had a death fatality in that city. That's right. So, did you guys go to Houghton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to go back, and so we're also looking at either a trip to Rotterdam or to Delft for a day trip, and then Eindhoven to see the Hoogering. And that would be a day trip out there, which is an amazing bike facility. Then we also have two, we're going to be doing other tours, but two other tours. There will be a cultural tour of Amsterdam, probably the first day that we're there, and then a guided evening canal tour, which should be fun, a different type of mode to cruise around on. But there's some flexibility. It's still a draft schedule.
And most of these tours, I think, we're going to be riding bikes.
Yep.
To Houghton.
Okay. We're going to be, we'll have a bike in both cities for the whole time, so we'll be doing a little bit of riding. So this is a picture when you step out, for people that have been there, you step out of any rail station or go into any rail station, this is where you just like it is, blows you away. First time seeing it. Next slide, Al. So course details, it is actually a course in CE. That's the course number. It's going to be 4 credits this year. It's open to seniors, grad students from all majors, so it's not just transportation, and non-PSU students. So we're hopefully having people from other parts of the country on the tour. Applications for it are March 11th. It's not hard to fill out an application, but we do need them in around March 11th. Get to see some of this interesting infrastructure on bikes. Next one. So frequently asked questions. Do you have to be an engineer to participate? Absolutely not. It's open to everybody. Does the coursework, we have examples of past years, we can share about what we do, but it's going to be a lot of, daily observations of what you do see. We're going to have some, there will be an in project that you'll work on, either in groups or by yourself. We're still trying to figure out what that in project is. But it's going to be stuff that you can either, really do within 2 weeks. It's not going to be that hard, and that you can do at nighttime, but not that you're going to be staying up all night working on these extensive projects. The point is to really do the work during the day visually and talking, and then having some observations later. And then, do you need to speak Dutch? That would be no. Me is the name. She's married to
Yeah, right.
so she's more fluid than I. Go ahead, next slide. This is another picture of one of the wonderful bike infrastructure. Go ahead. Cost. Here are the 2 costs. There's program fees, which is basically about $4,000. That includes basically your tuition in there. But that would be housing. So we're going to be at 2 different hostels. And there will be students will be sharing rooms with other students. But that housing includes breakfast, and we have 2 group dinners, scheduled there. Bike rentals, train tickets, and that's all included in that part. What we are estimating, and this is just an estimate that we've done. It could be lower. Last year, people did find some cheap airfares, so this can be a little higher, but there's cheaper ways to get there. But that's airfares, meals, which is lunch and dinner, and personal expenses. On meals, and David can maybe hit on this too, is that it's not going out to dinner every night. There's really great things at the grocery store that you can get, and there's going to be access to that type of ability to eat. We will not be going out to dinner every night. And then there's some financial aid deals to apply for it.
Yes, I just wanted to point out that the train tickets that's included in the program fee is the train ticket to get you from Amsterdam to Utrecht between the 2 weeks, and then to either Rotterdam or Delft, and then the trip to Eindhoven. Yeah, and so you'll have to pay the cost of transportation from the airport, to and from the airport, which is not that significant. It's about, I want to say $15.
Yeah, 10 euros.
Yeah, in euros. So it's pretty affordable here. I mean, I guess you can take the max, but if you pay for a taxi, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Next slide. Here's some of our students looking very happy on their trip from last year.
No, this is
2 years.
2 years.
2 years ago. It's 2 years ago. Okay, and then last slide is coming to experience. Great way, and we do have a limit of 15 students this year. So get your applications in if you want to be part of that. And then I'll open up to any questions right now, and then David will give his little presentation. David, I'll let that.
As far as scholarships, like I know the Gilman doesn't cover it because it's only 2 weeks. Is there any specific scholarship that works really well for this trip?
I don't know.
So that's something that you might want to reach out to the
I'll make a comment on his question. That scholarships for study abroad, because I did the same thing I looked at last year, that you should be aware that March 1st is usually the deadline for scholarships. So you want to do it sooner rather than.
Oh, that's great. So March 1st is the deadline. All right, well, yeah.
I have a friend who wasn't able to make it, but he wanted me to ask a question of similar to financial assistance. Because we get credit, can we also get loans like we do for classes? I don't even know if you guys know the answer to this.
Yeah, I think that goes into the financial aid piece, and so I would encourage your friend, you can point him to the resources, that Hannah Fisher is our contact for the Education Abroad program, and she can provide more details on both the financial aid aspect and the scholarships.
I can get her your email address.
And I should say that if you have any other questions, or if you have, people that want to, they can give us a call or talk to Kelly or I about what we're planning, but also, the track staff can help point you in the right direction. So I gave my email, but it's macarthur@pdx.edu. So, or just call over to the Trek office. Any other questions before David just gives this little fun spiel here? All right. Well, if you think of anything, then we can come back. So, come on up, David.
Hi, everyone. As was said, I'm David. I went last year. This was our group. We had, as was mentioned, students, besides from PSU, we had students from University of Washington and University of North Carolina, and actually Gonzaga University, but Washington State. And this is a picture that was taken in Utrecht. We'll be talking about some pro tips in the Netherlands. So what to expect? Obviously, the Netherlands is like just a whole new experience in almost every sense. You're going to see a whole different country. Obviously, it's a very flat country, so even though you will be required to buy it most of the time, the difficulty, it's not very difficult. It's not a strain on the body that much. When we were there last year, the weather was pretty great. But you should always be prepared for any kind of weather, whether it rains or shines. In our experience, it does get windy sometimes, but I don't know. In our experience, we always had, we did activities during the day, and then around 4 p.m. we were allowed to, roam wherever we wanted to go, explore a little, and on weekends we're free as well, which is important to know because you're only in you don't know when you'll be back in the Netherlands, so take advantage of weekends to kind of meet your own personal objectives, where you want to go, etc. But yeah, in general, be prepared to embrace a new culture. Try to learn the new language, make the most of this opportunity, and expect to see a lot of typical Dutch things like windmills, tulips, canals, and amazing architecture, historic and contemporary. So we did Rotterdam on one of our weekend trips, and by far, architecture in Rotterdam and Utrecht is amazing. So just make the most of this opportunity. And quickly, this is one of the attractions you might be visiting this year in Eindhoven. Like was mentioned a lot, there are many innovations in transportation in the Netherlands that you won't see anywhere else in the world. So
Maybe can you explain?
So it's called the Hovenring. It's a raised bicycle roundabout. So there are 4 corners where cycle paths basically can enter this circular bridge that is sustained by a central pole. This hasn't been done anywhere else in the world. It was an amazing collaboration between architects and planners and city officials. So this is a testament to the kind of collaboration that goes on in the Netherlands in their government projects and that push for innovation. So beautiful at night or day. So make sure you go.
Did you go to the Van Gogh path?
Yeah. I went all out. I was gonna mention that at the end, but
Okay, I'm sorry.
so this is a picture of Amsterdam Platz or Damplatz, the central square of Amsterdam. And here again, you see part of that just complete integration of all modes. You have a very pedestrian-friendly public space, and then you have the tram coming in the middle. So expect to see that kind of new environment. So how to be prepared? I like to just say that as in any bicycle tour, you should be aware of how to make proper indications of where you're going to turn left or right or brake. So just read up a little on what
Practice
kind
before
of
you go.
bicycle etiquette. As was mentioned, apply for scholarships as soon as possible, book your flight as soon as possible. That's how you'll be able to save money. And some things you might forget to bring, I forgot to bring, electric socket converters are actually, you can buy them, I think, at Martians. Anyways, you can buy them anywhere, and they will be very useful when you go to Europe. Toiletries, sunglasses and cap, because you want to be prepared if it's too sunny, etc. And backup phone charger is also very useful if you decide to use your phone as your primary tool of photography. Last year, the tasks, the homeworks, had a lot of use of photography that you would take, so you would try to integrate it into your assignment. So just a thought. And this is a picture in Amsterdam as well, from the bridges of the canal. Beautiful architecture. So some safety tips. The number one thing that anyone who visits the Netherlands for the first time needs to know is that you need to look both ways before crossing the bike path. I mean, we know that we do this we should know this for roads, but never forget to do it on bike paths as well. The one thing that struck me, or that might be the right word, but that surprised me, was the amount of motorized two-wheeled vehicles that were operating on bike paths. So the first time this happens to you, the first time someone in a motorized two-wheeler just rushes past you, you're just going to be completely shocked. So just kind of mentally prepare to, it might not happen, but you might encounter someone that will just surprise you when they go past you with the sound level of a lawnmower, basically. So this did happen last year. We went on a long bike ride and someone's tire was flat, so just check your tire pressure every morning. Easy things to resolve early in the morning, but if you're out in the middle of the field with the group, it's really a bit of a hassle, so it's good for everyone. And yeah, get ready to have a lot of fun while biking. Learn a lot while having fun, essentially. This is a picture we took on that long bike ride. This was on the way out to visit a greenhouse operation that they talked about how they recovered waste heat from industrial processes to keep the greenhouses going. So yeah, on a closing note, again, make the most of weekends. Even though it wasn't in the program last year, I got to go to Eindhoven because they have an excellent train system. So even if you want to explore some part of the Netherlands that isn't within the program, the train system makes it possible and convenient. I went to Rotterdam twice with the group, with Portland State's, with all the students, and Rotterdam was amazing. It's just, and yeah, I also went to some museums that weren't, again, on the program. Just make the most of these opportunities. Great, it's a great country, wonderful.
Thanks. Any questions for David?
I have a question for either one of you. So one
once you go to an urban experience, it's so much different than our infrastructure here. And it would like just take tons of money and just getting people on board with it and create a total change of mind. So I wonder like how effective can people be like trying to adapt those ideas, bring them here and put them into practice.
Well, I mean, I think you see some of that stuff happening in Portland, that we're, and so every, year we have different instructors. Peter Kuntz is, traffic engineer in the city of Portland, has done it many times, and so is Roger Geller. And they go there and they bring back and they try to do what is contextually appropriate or what we can do. There is, this is one of the stuff we'll be talking about is, there's a different will or interest in doing these type of things. But also they're using different financial funds and, they have a different purpose. Can that change in the United States? Yes. And I think you do see it in places like Portland or Davis or other cities. And also, I should say, we focus a lot of this pictures on bike infrastructure, right? And I think we will be talking about that. But, integration of bike and transit and some stuff that we're going to be looking at, innovative mobility or smart cities, are things that we are actively doing. So we're going to be hitting on a broad breadth of sustainable transportation.
I think that's a very good question. Has anybody ridden on the east side, East Bank, Esplanade, going up the ramp and then you're stopped? How many of you have seen the countdown? The little tick, 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 tick. That's a Dutch signal that Peter brought back. So what this class offers you is that inspiration to think beyond what's available and possible. And I think it's up to you as the future transportation engineers and planners to be inspired by that and then to think how you would integrate that into your work in the future. I think that what Peter did is one example. The Greenway, when you're going down Ford on a bike and you're hitting every single light, the Dutch do that in their sleep because they are traffic signal engineers, but they design it from multi-modes. So yeah, I would be interested to hear what you bring back after the course because every person is different and they can find inspiration in different aspects of
and two other points that I add is one of the reasons we have this course is that the next generation of people have this in context when you are in your work, that you're like, hey, I saw that. Can we do something like that? A lot of the stuff, and also Portland's done is just, even on paint or ways in which we address intersections. Yeah, we have not done, the hoovering, type of thing yet, but we do things other ways. And also, we're going to be running for the first time a professional trip to the Netherlands this year. It's going to be earlier in June. And so there's a lot of interest at the professional levels, the people that didn't have this opportunity as students, that they want to go do that because they have interest in putting these practices in place.
The other thing that I would say is if you look around the US and like the innovation that's happening now, I like to think it's that my generation, my cohort of sort of planners and engineers are making that happen. And how did that happen? Because when we were students, we were inspired by a new vision of sustainable mobility, coordinating land use and transport. So if you look at Scott Cooley, who is the director of transportation for Seattle, or Leah Tree, who's our PBOT director, or Selena Reynolds in LA, like they are sort of like my generation, my contemporaries, right? And we had a vision, and they've worked their way up through their careers and now in their place of power and influence. And I think one of the things out of this course is to sort of instill with you guys this new vision of what we can do here in the US. And as you go on your career, path. You know, it might be difficult in the beginning to convince people that this is, the right vision for a city. But I think as you advance in your career, you'll have more opportunity, right? So it's hard to say that you'll come back and you'll get your first job out of your degree and be able to, change everything. But I think the vision that we are providing, the opportunity to see what could be, I think is part of it. I think the other thing is, it's not a part of this course, but other programs are taking leaders in transportation over to the Netherlands or to Copenhagen, right, to see what they've done, so that they can sort of change their perspective as well. So, I think what everybody can say is going there and experiencing this is really like personally transforming. And so, it can perhaps be frustrating to think back and think, why can't we realize that here? I think, Portland is always a good example of where we're striving to do that. But I think there are other places that I think most major cities in the U.S. right now are really embracing bicycles. They're really into sustainable transportation. We're thinking more and more about coordinating land use and transportation than ever before. So it's like the timing is right. And I think as we have developed this course, we've been focusing on skill sets or recognizing that where are we now compared to where we were 10 years ago. And so that's why we're incorporating new ideas into the course about smart mobility, pedestrians, like thinking about transit, how all these things fit together.
That's great. Any other questions or?
I have one quick comment. So just thinking about flights. So I think this flight very often. There is a direct flight from Portland to Amsterdam on Delta. It usually runs about $1,000 to $1,200. I've had it cheaper than that once or twice. So that's an option that's very simple. Like you land right with people and right there. So there are obviously other ways to get there, but if you're shopping for flights, check that out.
And I do know that some students 2 years ago, for sure, tagged on extra weeks and then did some European travel, afterwards. So, that is an option too. On the last day, you can keep on going and have fun. I have to come back. So, you can say something? Or?
I was gonna say the same thing. You could look into flying to like other locations and then getting into Amsterdam, or like going out of a different airport. It would be cheaper if you wanted to add on to your travels. Check it as well.
Yeah, like or Seattle can be a way to get to Europe cheaper maybe.
It's a 3-hour train ride to Paris from Amsterdam. So you can take the high-speed rail, like home in Paris if you want. There's lots of options.
One thing that really interests me about Netherlands and how they are handling their transportation is not just like the incentives to ride a bike, but the penalties for driving. And I feel like that's where we can't keep up because we're not really willing to take those kind of measures here. It's like we keep, making more bike lanes and adding like nice bells and whistles to the bike infrastructure, but that's where I feel like they really exceed, is because like their liability laws and like the costs of driving. So I feel like that's why we're not making progress with that. So it'd be interesting to study that.
One thing I would say is my perception that something that blew my mind when I went there was that the commuter rail, the trains that go between cities, really enabled you to go throughout the country without a car. And that's what, for me, I read a paper also on their national rail system. That is what enables car-free lifestyles, because you can essentially go visit your relatives somewhere or just go for recreational travel, and it is so convenient. The trains are very frequent. So also look into that, how a fully functional national rail structure can also enable car-free and then mass adoption of other modes of bicycles.
Netherlands is not a very big country, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to traverse by rail.
Right.
And even if you think about Portland's history and where we are, we're not But we started with rail. I mean, so we invested first in building a like rail network long before we started thinking about the bike system that we have now. And so I think those two things, I mean, David's exactly right, those two things go very much together. And I think if you look at a lot of American cities that have a robust bike mode share, they have a robust transit system. Now, that may not quite be true if you're talking about smaller cities like Vegas and Boulder, but if you're talking about a city of any size, you'll find that they have those two things.
And you see that now in Seattle as they're really amping up investments on transit, for lots of different reasons, but they're trying to catch up to where they should be. And I would also say is that we're actually, in Portland now, you saw they dropped the speed limit on residential roads down to 20. So we are trying to do on the enforcement side other ways to make it appropriate for driving and safe, driving as it relates to the bike. So, but that's all the stuff that will be kind of inspiring you to think about on the trip. So we'll get into
It's very productive. I had after I took this course, I had to also make my course selection for next term, and there was this class called Bicycle Networks, Bike Ped Planning, and everything in that course was already something I had seen, and they had guest speakers coming from the Netherlands, so I just took the Bike Ped lab. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the skills, a lot of the concepts you're going to learn on this trip, they're going to be applicable in many other aspects of your academic and
Great. Yeah.
I guess on that note, that's kind of where I'm at right now, looking at classes for the spring, because I'm considering the bike ped class, and I know they split it up, the class and the lab. So I love hearing about inspiring people to be inspired on this trip, but I still have that question in the back of my head of which direction to take. And I've heard that there is like some, like what you said, there's some overlap, but I don't know. I didn't know that was possible to just take the lab.
you can just take the
Okay.
So is the bike ped, is that the engineering course that Dr. Manzier is teaching?
No, that's the plan.
Great.
Specifically. That's why, so Brian's in planning, he might be able also to tell you his experience.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I was
So what your question is are these substitutes or complements?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't necessarily answer that question in the way that you guys
comment.
can, but go ahead.
For bike planning, so the class, if you go on this trip, I would not recommend taking the actual class and just doing the lab, because as David said, there's a lot of overlap with concepts in the 2 weeks in this course and the full 10 weeks in plant class. So if you do decide to go on this trip, Carrie, I would say just take the lab in the fall.
But and I should say, we're going to hit on other things outside of just bike ped planning, in this. So we're going to be adding, transit, we're going to add mobility, some other,
So the class is gonna be a little different than it was last year.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say that it's meant to be a substitution, but it's going to definitely complement that. But, it all depends on if you're, want to be a bike ped planner, then you might want to take both, or if it wants to be part of your toolbox, you could just take one. I'm not suggesting either.
Also apply for the visa. What type of documentation I need some application form that I showed up where I'm going, where I'm to stay, and where can I get this?
So we have all the information about where you're staying and all that information that we can share with you. The
Yeah,
visa question.
We had to work through some of those issues for some of our students in previous years. So you should connect early on with the education abroad folks. But John, we do have the information for the hotels already. So if you need that for your visa application.
Yeah, so we have those, but I would reach out to the state abroad program, office to say, okay, what do I need to do for visa? And then we can give you information.
So I'm gonna send around a sign-in sheet, and so we will email you afterwards with the contact person, from the education abroad.
All right. Thanks, David. Thanks for coming. We'd love to see you in Amsterdam, or if not earlier.
Is there another, actually probably already know the answer to it, but, once the people are selected, we need to do another meeting before we go.
Yes.
We will do there'll be but it'll be so we'll have, I don't know if I'll have two for the people that are, that will be on the phone. So the point of the people will have a meeting in person, but then we'll also have a phone